everyone, this is Dylan, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review for you guys. So the review today is Clueless. So I actually just got this new Blu-ray that they put out. I believe the other Blu-ray was out of print, and so this is marked as the 25th anniversary Blu-ray, which I know a lot of people were saying it's pretty much, or I think it's exactly the exact same disc that they released before, but it's now has a new slipcover and like a digital copy, but all the features are the same. So that actually kind of sucks considering that they're billing this as the 25th anniversary, but they didn't add any new material. But I was happy to have gotten it because it was out of print, and when things go out of print, they're expensive. So I was able to get it, and I think I only paid $15 for it, so I was pretty happy about that. But let's get into the movie a little bit. So Clueless was released on July 19th, 1995, celebrating its 25th anniversary this month. So that's actually pretty cool. Actually, on the day that I'm filming this, it's celebrating its 25th anniversary. Unfortunately, I had some poor planning and wasn't able to get this up on the day, so forgive me for that. So it was written and directed by Amy Heckerling, and I would say that one of the things that I appreciate about Amy Heckerling is she seems like one of the very few people that can get teenagers right. Another one of those people is Diablo Cody and also Kevin Williamson. I think they're all kind of in the same realm of writers who can get the basic essence of a teenager, and I think that that's a very valuable skill to have when you are writing and doing a teenage movie. Even though that some of these characters in this in Clueless tend to be, they definitely seem a bit exaggerated compared to typical teenagers, but I also, well, I wasn't even alive when this movie came out. It would have been another month before I was born. So this stars Alicia Silverstone as Cher Horowitz, and then we have Stacey Dash, who is Dion. We have Paul Rudd as Josh, and then we have Brittany Murphy as Ty. And this Clueless was also loosely based off of the Jane Austen novel Emma, which I'm not familiar with at all. I don't know why I tried to say I'm not super familiar with it. I'm not familiar with it at all. So I'm not quite sure what that entails. Alright, so what is Clueless about? So your basic synopsis is Cher Horowitz is this like super popular rich girl. And throughout this entire movie, she's kind of using her influence to help other people, but also helping herself. So like the very first couple things that happen in the movie is she's trying to help get her teachers together, but that's also to help raise her grades because she doesn't have very good grades. And then we also have her she meets a new student, Ty, who's played by Brittany Murphy, and her and Stacey Dash are trying to like make her over and try to make her popular and find a cute guy to date and all of that. And then we have our last part of the movie where she kind of stops being selfless and she starts to focus on herself and doing what makes her happy. So I think that is, I mean, it's quite a bit of character development in that regard. But so that's the basic premise of this movie. I believe that it's streaming on Netflix, so if you're interested in watching it, definitely check out Netflix. I also like the progressive nature of this movie, and a lot of the things that are in this are super relevant to today, the political climate today. I mean, she's doing a debate, and it's about the Haitians, but I forget like the specific context. But essentially she says, the exact line was, it doesn't say RSVP on the Statue of Liberty. And I think that is so telling, and I think that is something that we as a society should live by, because it doesn't say RSVP on the thing. I mean, it's a big argument for why we should have immigration, and I think that's super interesting coming from a movie that's like this. She also makes a point in that it's basically like when she sent out RSVPs to this party, and more people showed up than RSVP'd, and they had only prepared enough plates for the people who had RSVP'd, and then they had to go back and just kind of rearrange the plates so that everyone could get a plate. And she said that government should do stuff like that, and I totally agree. I think that is a very interesting message to be coming from a movie like this. There's also a super progressive family situation in this movie. The dad, Josh, who's played by Paul Rudd, is not Cher's dad's son. He's not related to Cher at all, and it's one of Cher's dad's ex-wives. It's his son, or her son. And one of the lines that he says is, "You divorce wives, not children." And I thought that was pretty progressive thinking as well, because I don't know specifically, but I would imagine that most people, if they get divorced and the other person has children, that they don't particularly maintain that relationship after the divorce is over. So I think that is quite interesting. It also has a pretty stellar soundtrack. I was actually quite surprised that most of the songs in this movie were ones that I had heard about and I had listened to before. And I think I've only watched this movie once before, and I really didn't remember a lot of the story. And another thing that I particularly liked about this movie is that deep down, Cher is quite good-hearted. She has very good intentions for everything that she does. And I'm glad that even though some of them are self-serving, like getting her teachers together so that they like her more so she can get better grades, she's still doing a service to the people that she's helping, I guess. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I mean, the one thing that I would kind of ding this movie on, which I don't know, I'm not super familiar with teenage movies from the 90s or 80s, I guess, but I know that there was like a ton of movies from the 90s that all were teen related, especially the late 90s. But I don't know, and this could have been the one that started it, but there is that trope where it's kind of like the ugly girl needs to get a makeover trope in these teenage movies. So I kind of didn't like that, but I don't know if it's necessarily this movie's fault or if it's the fault of all the other movies that came out during and around this time, from the, I don't know, mid 90s to mid 2000s. So Clueless actually has quite a legacy, which I wasn't even completely aware of. But it had a television show shortly after the movie came out, and I'm not 100% sure. I've never seen any of it, and I don't know if you can even watch it anywhere, like stream it or anything. It never came out on DVD, so there's that. There was also a Clueless Musical, which actually sounds pretty cool, and it's something that they've done to a lot of these higher named or higher profile teenage movies. They did a Mean Girls musical, they did a Heathers the musical, and Clueless the musical. Also the music video to Fancy by Iggy Azalea, that was heavily influenced by Clueless, and I know one summer, I believe it was the summer, but one part of the year, a couple of years ago, was just all Iggy Azalea and Fancy, and so Clueless really definitely had a resurgence there. And then also I saw that in October of 2019, CBS had said that they were in the middle of development for a new television show based off of Clueless, which is going to take a more dramatic approach, which kind of made me think of like the CW kind of stuff with Riverdale and Nancy Drew and so I'm not 100% sure. It's like where the Dion character, Cher's went missing, and Dion is trying to figure out where Cher is and what the story is with all of that. So now let's get into what other people have thought about this movie. So it has a Letterboxd score of 3.7 out of 5, which is really high. We have a Rotten Tomatoes score, a critic score of 80%, and a audience score of 76%, and then we also have a B+ cinema score. And I would be right along with those. I think that it's a solid B+ movie, and I'm pretty happy that I bought it, and I enjoyed it. So it's definitely something that I would definitely recommend watching if you've never seen it before, and I'm glad to have it in my collection. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. And if you're not already subscribed and you'd like to be, please hit that subscribe button down below. And if you like this video, give it a like. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Bye.